Hello folks, Charlie Gibble here with CG Financial Group. Hey, I want to do a video in which the content is something that I've written a lot about in the financial trade publications over the years. And it is, if you are Shaquille O'Neal, what part of the floor are you going to favor? You're going to favor down low, right? Why is that? Because that is the area in which you dominate. That is the area that nobody else can replicate what it is that you do. Shaquille O'Neal is not going to get the ball and run out to the three-point line and try to shoot that three-pointer. Why? Because that is competing in a world where Shaquille O'Neal, he does not dominate. He's gonna favor the portion of the floor in which he does dominate. What is my analogy here? What my analogy is we as an industry, whether it's financial professionals with their clients or whether it's IMOs with their agents, need to educate on this one area in which annuities are in fact Shaquille O'Neal. They cannot be stopped when it comes to down low. The down low game being guaranteed retirement income that many times cannot be replicated in the capital markets, cannot be replicated by stocks and bonds, cannot be replicated by the Steph Currys that are out there at the three-point lines, mutual funds, ETFs, stocks, bonds, all that stuff. These things cannot be replicated for the purpose in which I'm going to talk about here today. So to give you a quick 5-minute pitch, so to speak, or training session that I've done a lot of over the years. And by the way, we have the training material on this that shows the numbers, how to logic with the client. We have all this stuff at CG Financial Group, but here is the concept of it. First and foremost, what is the tallest point on Earth? The tallest point on Earth is Mount Everest. Mount Everest is almost 6 miles in the air, right? Mount Everest is 29,035 feet in the air, depending on how deep the snow is at the top, which can actually vary quite a bit. 29,035 feet in the air. Now, if you were to set out to climb Mount Everest, what would be your goal? What would be your goal when you set out as a mountain climber to climb Mount Everest? If you said to hit the summit, first of all, you're not alone. Second of all, you would be dead if you planned for the goal to be the summit, to hit the summit. Why is that? Because of the 300 or so, actually at last check, I think it was a little less than 300 people, that died climbing Mount Everest. Many of them died after they hit the summit on the way back down the mountain. Why is that? Because many times the other side of the mountain, the trip down the mountain, can be just as dangerous, just as treacherous as a trip up the mountain, right? So if you go into retirement, or if you're in pre-retirement with the goal of, you know what, I want to hit retirement, I want to hit that summit, I want to have $3 million, $4 million, $5 million, and I am done. It is smooth sailing for the rest of my life. Well, I have news for you. You are not there yet, and you set the wrong goal. The goal should be getting down the other side of that mountain, which I would define as having enough money to last for as long as you are alive. That last day that you're alive, still having money, a cash flow, a certain amount of dollars coming in a cash flow. That is the definition of making it down the other side of the mountain, because there are risks here on this other side of the mountain. There are long-term care risks. There are inflation risks, for instance. Yes, inflation risk also exists on the upside of the mountain, or on the upside trek to the top of the mountain. But inflation can eat away, that set level of income that you have, for instance. There are a lot of risks here on the other side of the mountain that you don't have on the way up. Retirement is a lot more complicated than what pre-retirement was. And by the way, in retirement, as Tom Hagner says, every day is a Saturday, every day is a Sunday in retirement. Expenses don't necessarily decrease in retirement, because when do you spend the most money? You spend the most money on Saturdays and Sundays. There are risks on the way down the mountain you did not have on the way up. And what if I told you that there was this financial product that was equivalent to a helicopter picking you up at the summit and taking you back down the other side of that mountain 100% safe and sound? Or, in my analogy here, making sure that you have enough money so that on that last day, while you are still breathing, you still have that income stream coming in. What is that? Here is what that is that I'm referring to. Here is the helicopter that I'm referring to. And by the way, this is where we need to educate. I believe we need to educate as an industry more on this. So Mrs. Client, you have a 50-50 retirement portfolio, right? You have a 50% stock, 50% bond portfolio. Let's say that it's $100,000. You are 2 years from retirement. You're 63 years of age. You want to retire 2 years from now at age 65. So let me ask you a question. What do you expect, if all things go as planned, that your $100,000 is going to grow to between now and retirement? I'm not talking pie in the sky stuff to the up. I'm not talking Armageddon to the down. What is a not too conservative, not too aggressive rate of return to assume between now and 2 years from now? When I give this to seminar attendees, many times they'll say 5%, 6%, 7%. It doesn't matter which one of these numbers you choose, the end concept is still going to hold true here by the end of my talk. Let's say 5%. We have to choose 5% because that's the math that I've done. So let's say that 100,000 grows to $110,000. That's assuming that this happens instead of say a negative 20%, right? Okay, Mrs. Client, so your $110,000 at retirement, what is it in that first year of retirement that you're going to withdraw from your portfolio? This is the rule of thumb we need to educate more on. Many people may say, well, the stock market's averaged 10% since 1926. Therefore, can't we do at least 7%, at least 8%, at least 9%? I haven't seen any models that have included those large of numbers in it, but I'll tell you, the probability at a 7%, 8%, 9% withdrawal rate, the probabilities of failure is probably, I don't know, 50%, 60%, 40%. We aren't going to go there. Mrs. Client, here's what it is. In 1994, there was a CFP out of California named William Bingen, and he suggested 4%. This is the 4% withdrawal rule that many financial advisors today talk about. You should take out no more than 4% of your portfolio value at retirement, which means in that first year of retirement, that's $4,400. But that is assuming that this happens between point A and point B. That's assuming the 4% is in fact sustainable, because today Morningstar is saying that that percentage is actually more like 2.8%. Now, these calculations or this modeling, whether it was Morningstar or this gentleman named William Bingen, actually said, well, but then you can increase that for inflation for the years going forward, decrease for deflation for the years going forward. I won't get into that right now, but if you want to correspond with me on that offline, I can give you all of my analysis that I've done on inflation versus what I'm going to talk about here in a bit. But that's assuming this happens. That's assuming that happens. What if instead this happens? That 100,000 goes to 80K. Well, sorry, Mrs. Klein, the year that you retired, you're now getting $3,200 instead of $4,400. I hope you're okay with that 20-some% pay cut, right? What if instead of all this, I told you, Mrs. Klein, that there was the ability to put yourself in that helicopter at the summit and fly back down the other side of that mountain? What is this product called? This product is called an annuity with a guaranteed lifetime withdrawal benefit. It is the inverse of life insurance, effectively. And here is what this particular one is that I'm talking about. Let's say that you have your $100,000, 100K. Between now and age 65, this particular annuity, here is what your $100,000 is going to grow to, at least from a benefit-based standpoint. 7.5% simple each year. That grows to $115,000. At that point in time, what is the withdrawal factor that you take from this $115,000? 4%? No, that's not 4%. The insurance company actually says that for this particular annuity at age 65, it is 5.5%. 5.5%. 5.5% times $115,000. Do the math here in my head real quick. Actually not. I did this prior to this video. The math looks something like $6,325. No ifs, ands, or buts. That 100,000 turns into 115 from a benefit-based standpoint. No ifs, ands, or buts. At age 65, that 5.5%. But wait, there's more. And what that more is this particular product for the remainder of the first 10 years, i.e. the additional 8 years, that $6,325, it's actually going to grow to $7,205. $7,205. It's going to grow to that by that 10th year, and that is the income that that client will be able to take for the remainder of their life. No $4,400, no $3,200, no ifs, ands, or buts. That in year 2, and by year 10, that. That is longevity insurance. That is the inverse of life insurance. Financial professionals. That is what I believe the biggest opportunity is for annuities. Cannot be replicated. And it's only because insurance companies have that pooling power that makes it so life insurance cannot be replicated. This is merely the inverse of this. Educate your clients on traditional rules of thumb while utilizing those Steph Curry type products, right? And then contrast that with no ifs, ands, or buts, what we can do here. And by the way, shooting those 3 pointers, 10% returns, 12% returns, talking about that and the ability of any product to do that. What horse had I rather tie my wagon to? A guaranteed horse where you're talking about guarantees, setting the client's expectation and being guaranteed that you can deliver on those expectations, or the possibility of, well, we may hit a million 3 pointers this game, we may not. We may be able to get you 10%, 12%, but maybe not. This is a horse that I'd rather tie my wagon to. Again, if you want training material, training videos, all that fun stuff, call CG Financial Group. We're a marketing organization out of Des Moines, Iowa. Thank you and have a good week.